In this session, we're going to discuss test data generation templates. I'm currently within the Validate Data tool, and I'm going to click on the Add Test Data button. I can create this optional test run name if I wish. Usually this is helpful if you're trying to distinguish between page paths, if you have different criteria needed to be able to run your data towards. So let me label this path 1. And this is the total max respondents, which we've talked about before in a different session. And I want to get 50 total in this case. Now towards the bottom of the screen, I have a template option. I don't have to use this. I can just click on generate data, and it's just going to randomly generate data based on the questions that I have in place and see if I can get my 50 completes that I'm asking for. What I can do is add a test generation template. So I'm going to click on Add New. And this menu will show you all of the questions and variables that you have programmed within your survey. Here you have the option to hard code some answers if you needed to get through the screener with certain criteria. Again, maybe you're trying to denote a specific path, so you wanted to make sure that these specific answers have been selected to be able to qualify somebody as part of that particular path. So let's say your screener is very intricate. Maybe you need 2 or 3 questions to be answered in a specific manner. So let me do that exact thing. So I know in this particular survey that anybody who is a male is going to term. So maybe I want to take care of that as well. I'm going to hard code Q1 to option 2, which is female. And maybe in Q2, this is a select all and apply question, I want to have these 3 options selected. And I want to make sure the none is not selected because it's mutually exclusive. But I don't care about these other 2, so I'm going to leave them as is. If I wanted them to be unchecked on purpose, I can just click on uncheck and that'll hard code that as well. So now I've hard coded some answers. I can now go to the bottom of the screen and name this template. Maybe I'll even call this path 1 as well. And I will hit create. So now the path is available here, and now some extra buttons show up. I can just click on generate data because the template's already here that I want to use, so I can just click on generate data. So now I've got, out of my 100 respondents, I'm getting my 50 completes in total. So it looks like I will not need the full 100 to get my 50. And because I took care of that turn point, which was the gender question, that was I need to have 100% females. Because I accounted for that, I don't have any termination errors or messages towards the bottom. So that accounted for that as well. So if I hit close, I now have 50 respondents available here in my test data. Still, in addition, I have my 43 on a prior test run in this particular case. So I've got 70 total respondents, which are completes. So if I wanted to, I can now truncate this, and I can see what my counts are. Again, I'm looking at the total at that first test run, and now also my page path template. So this has got all of the information tied to what is appearing here. So now I can scroll down, review my answers. So my counts are all 70 here, so it looked pretty good. I can then go up to expand my data settings. And let's say I wanted to take away those 43 from that test run that I initially created in a prior session. I can click on the X to get rid of those. Just refresh. So now that's gone. And now I've got my path 1 and my 50 total completes here. So now I can just review those specific 50. And then I will select my questions on the left-hand side of the question tree. And now I've got my 50. So I can review now this specific page path. I want to expand my settings again. That's fine. Maybe I want to now create another test run with some different answers hard-coded, but I have most of them are going to be the same as path 1. So maybe it's just a couple of tweaks I need to make. So I can create another test data generation run. Maybe I'll name this path 2, just so that I know. Don't have to. Again, that's optional. Maybe I want 100 response again, and maybe 50 total completes is what I'm looking for again. So now, if I search in this template dropdown, I have that path 1 template that I created earlier. I do not have to recreate the wheel. If a lot of those answers are going to be the same, I can now click on clone, name it path 2 as an example, hit clone. Now I'm in the path 2. And I can now have the option to click on edit. So now to confirm I'm on the path 2 template, I can now go in and change some of my options. I'm going to leave Q1 in this case is my hard-coded gender. I'll leave that alone. Maybe I want apple to be checked, and maybe this time I need orange to be checked. And maybe I want to uncheck this one and uncheck that one. I'll hit save. Now I have a brand new path. I can now hit my generate data. And here is that same menu that you saw before with the progress. So total respondents out of 100, trying to get to 50, and I'm almost there. Click close. So now I've got 100 total. If I truncate the data settings, I'll see now 100. If I expand the settings again, I can also use some of these filters. So there's a custom filter here in which I can filter based on any questions or variables, and using some ands and ors to be able to filter as well. And I can even use a filter name so that I can save this for the future if I wanted to. So if you ever wanted to look at a survey in which you had, as an example, gender question, in this particular case, I have a term that if you are a male, you're going to term, but let's say you wanted to look at a different survey that had a different makeup for the gender. You could be a male or a female, it didn't really matter, but you want to just look at the males as an example. You can set it up here to create a filter. I'll hit cancel here, and then you can also filter based off of status. So you can also look at in process folks, terminates, or everybody. The default is to look at just the completes, because sometimes it will be difficult to tell if what is going on when you have your in process folks, because they haven't completed the survey. They might have gone to question 3 out of 20 as an example. You can also look at the terminates too to see where the highest rate of terms might be. But again, looking at all of them might get a little bit confusing. The option is there, but default is completes. Now if I go back up towards the top, maybe I want to click on add test data again. This time I'm going to skip the top because I just want to show you separate options to the templates. So if I wanted to, I just selected one of the templates that I've already made. I can create a new one completely if I wanted to. I don't have to search for that here, but if I want to add a new one, I can. I can delete this particular one if I wanted to, so that's why I selected path 2. I can delete that if I want. I can click on clone if I want to make a copy of this one and continue to work and update different questions to create a separate template. Maybe path 2A or 2B or something like that, if that makes sense, depending on the use case of your survey. Or again, I can edit the path 2 one, and if I delete, it'll give you a confirmation. So I'll hit delete, and then I can close. And now the data that was used for that path, or at least the line item for path 2 is now gone. If I look at my total completes, I've got 50 here and 50 here. So what happened was that line item where path 2 was removed, but they were just moved to the manual entries because the test data template that I used is now gone, so we haven't removed that test data at all. We have just now moved it to the manual entries because it doesn't have a corresponding template because we've removed it. And that's why the total is still at 100 down here. And that's an overview of the usage and creation of test data templates.